Hello, everybody. Remember that time that Jay and Silent Bob almost fought Pinhead? Neither do I, because it's part of our Forgotten Media project where we talk about franchises, movies, and projects that never happened, but almost did. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so Hollywood can be a really strange place where all sorts of crossovers and franchises interconnect, but we haven't gotten a really good one since the days of Abbott and Costello versus the Mummy and all of those types of things. It seems like the crossover movie is a thing of the past. But what if I told you that over the course of several years, we had gotten some projects discussed that could have changed that forever. And you're going to want to stick around for our last one because that one, my friends, is the most insane one of them all. So here are 3 crossover movies that never happened. Batman from the 1960s television show starring Adam West and Burt Ward was followed by the film Batman the Movie in 1966. Around that same time, Tahoe's Godzilla franchise was making waves in the United States, thanks to the smash hit King Kong and several other things going on. They came up with an idea that never should have worked. This idea was so out there and so wild that it never could have happened. Yet, it almost did. They decided a crossover film between the two would happen. And there were several drafts penned. One called Batman Meets Godzilla, which is kind of a nod to those Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein things, which actually would have fit pretty well, all things considered, because the Batman movie was a bit campy. The Batman series from the 1960s was as campy as that movie was too. So with that in mind, Adam West's Batman and Burt Ward's Robin would have been perfect for something like this. The second script that they tried to do with this was called Batman versus Godzilla. Now, I find that to be all kinds of crazy because are you telling me we could have had a Batman versus Godzilla movie years before we had a Batman versus Superman movie? Where was that movie? Where is that movie? Can we make that happen now? But that's not even the most insane thing here because it would have seen the Cape Crusaders heading to Tokyo just in time to stop a mad scientist from exploiting the world and causing Godzilla to fight another day. So this movie would have been every bit as crazy as the series was and as that little 60s movie was. Batman has come a long way, but how exactly would he have defeated Godzilla? Well, with an explosive that ultimately would have sent Godzilla flying into space. As insane as that sounds, I would love to see that movie. I want that movie to still happen. What about you guys? What are your thoughts? If you're a Batman fan, would you love it? If you like the Godzilla stuff, would you love to see that happen as well? Imagine that in the DCU. That would be all sorts of levels of insane. So then in the early 2000s, there was an executive at Miramax who apparently thought it would be a good idea to have Jay and Silent Bob sort of duplicate the Abbott and Costello type of comedy. Now, he suggested 2 different franchises. He suggested, number 1, that they take on Pinhead. And then he also suggested they take on Michael Myers. Now, this was quickly shut down by Kevin Smith because Kevin Smith saw no world in which Jay and Silent Bob could exist in the same world as Pinhead. And that's essentially what happened here. That's the whole story of what happened here. But we could have had not 1, but 2 different things with Jay and Silent Bob facing off against some sort of iconic enemy. Personally, while I think the Michael Myers one would have been okay, at that particular time, Michael Myers was going through his own types of changes in those movies and probably wouldn't have been the best time for it. But Pinhead ultimately can end up being anywhere, and I feel feel like that would have been a better opportunity here. Imagine them actually making Pinhead go after Jay and Silent Bob and having Jay and Silent Bob versus the Cenobites. That would have been actually pretty cool. I would have actually have loved that. I think that this project had a lot of potential, but it ultimately never got made because Kevin Smith didn't see the logic in putting them together. At least that's what has been told about why this never happened. So that brings us to our last one, probably the most insane one on this list that almost happened. But the thing of it is, it just wasn't meant to be. Though this one would have fit in a number of ways and also been one of the most insane crossovers of all time. That is Cheech and Chong versus Jason. That's right. So basically, Tom McLoughlin had defeated Jason, had actually had Jason killed in Jason Lives. And they were impressed by this, Paramount was, and they essentially wanted him to continue on and do more films. Well, this was the thing. Basically, they wanted him to do Jason versus Freddy. That's right, it almost happened. It was going to happen all the way back then. But the thing of it was that it wasn't meant to be. At least not then. Because everything stalled with New Line. And we just wouldn't see it for a long time. Then he realized something. This same company owned Cheech and Chong. So he had a crazy idea. Imagine dropping Cheech and Chong into a Friday the 13th camp scenario. They're counselors and they're like, hey man, I saw Jason over there. This was his idea according to the Postmortem podcast that he was telling this to. Basically, this could have happened. And according to what they've said, this was kind of them talking about where to take Jason from there. Now, I don't think they intended this to be a for sure thing. I think they kind of intended this to be sort of lesser canon and just more campy fun. Just the same as if Abbott and Costello met Jason. And that's kind of the thing here. That's been our ongoing theme for this video, if you think about it. All the campy movies that could have happened but didn't. And is it a good thing or a bad thing? Because there's not really a right answer here. If you guys wanted to see any of these movies, I want to hear which ones. I want to hear what your thoughts are about them and why you would have loved to have seen them. And if you don't like any of them, yeah, I want to know that too. I want to hear from each and every one of you, so make sure you're leaving me those comments in the comment box below. Make sure that you sharing this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of our conversation as well. Then if you like positive content, you're going to want to let the algorithm know by hitting that like button. And if you like our channel personally, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it so you never miss a single video we do. We have so many fandoms to talk about, and at the end of the day, I know it and you know it. Fandom is family.